Hello, probers.
Oh, howdy.
Welcome to
But It Was Aliens.
the extraterrestrial comedy podcast brought to you by two former MIBs. One of us is a giant, standing in at an astonishing height that I cannot even comprehend. And that is Kevin the Grey. I have harped on about how tall he is for a while and know how much it's been bugging him. So I'll bring it back round to his glorious, luscious grey mane from here on out. Allegedly, truthfully.
Mane?
That majestic beard you have. One I'm jealous of. As you can see, I only have like a strand of grey.
I literally shaved this morning.
No, you didn't. If you did, you just trimmed the edges.
Chin bald.
And the other MIB is myself. Granny Moonwalker. General of the street grannies. A mob of cardigan-wearing OAPs armed to the saggy tits with guns, knives, and knitting needles. And cough drops.
And Worms originals. They can keep all sorts under those flaps. Give me your money.
Today, we are heading back to America.
Yeah.
April 22nd, 1976.
Nearly the exact day we're recording.
Nearly.
And the exact
day.
year. Nearly.
Nearly the exact time, too. It's 11 p.m. George Wheeler
Nearly our exact names.
would happen to see an orange glow from a fire in Elmwood, a small town that happens to be quite near us.
This makes no sense.
A small town near Tuttle Hill. George Wheeler had been within the police force for over 30 years in both New York and Wisconsin.
It's nearly our exact age.
He was also an officer in Elmwood before he retired to a reserve officer. The town of Elmwood was so small that it had one police officer, and Wheeler was this guy.
Jesus.
One-man army.
He was the law! Quite literally.
Before stepping down, so he must have been a real tough cookie. So when I looked, it said that he was the police chief, and he was the only one.
He was also the police officer,
So-
the police receptionist.
So when he retired, he became a reserve officer who literally just stepped in when the police chief was on holiday.
So who stepped in when he was on holiday before he stepped down? Did he? The man never took a day off in his life. He was the law.
He was. Probably the person that went up to police chief. Or it's like a
never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
Of
So the person that was
a
reserve
sif and an
officer-
apprentice. There can only be two.
So the reserve officer is the boss, really.
It's a weird dynamic. I need some help to do this. Nah, screw you, guy. You'll do this.
Then when they step down, their apprentice then takes their role.
Becomes the boss. But also not the boss.
Indeed. Wheeler had also served as a pilot during World War II.
Ooh.
So this man has the credibility that we'd be looking for an upstanding probe.
Interesting. We've got a man of the law. This man is the law, and he's also got a military background.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a tough cookie who's seen some shit.
Tough cookie.
So I'm guessing whatever happens to this chap, he's not going to flap.
He's not going to crumble.
He ain't going to crumble like the cookie. I see where you're going. It's completely throwing me off my trail of thought. Imagine living in a town where there's literally one police officer for the whole place.
It's mad, isn't it?
Absolutely mad.
But then at the same time, I don't know if that's exaggerated. I'm just going off of
imagine if it's
what I
not.
had, but one police officer.
All it takes is for 3 late teen students to decide to F shit up. And this police officer is in the doo-doo because he can't call any backup. Like, fair enough, he might be a tough bastard that could take out someone 1-on-1 at a push 2-on-1. Once you add a third person in there, things start getting real.
Do you think it was the kind of place where everybody knew everyone?
Sometimes you want to go.
So every time, say for example, some kids went and robbed sweets from the corner shop.
He knew exactly who it was.
Everyone knows exactly who it is, so they just go, oh, it was
They
this
get
person.
home, he's already waiting at their door.
Yep.
Oh, no. Officer Wheeler's there again.
So yeah, it's well maintained because everyone grasses on everyone.
This is like Super Cop. He knows everyone's exact routine.
It's a grass system. So Wheeler was thinking that this orange glow was possibly a fire, and thinking that this fire could spread through the town. So he rushed to his vehicle and rushed to the scene.
Here's the law.
As he got there, he realised that there were no flames,
Ooh.
no fire,
Ooh.
no danger. What he did see was a strange orange glowing object. The object was about 100 foot from the ground. Wheeler could see 6 bluish white lights along with windows on the side of this glowing object, which was becoming more and more visible to him as he stood there. The orange glow was not actually the full object, but light coming from it. And Wheeler describes the object as being large and silver.
So we don't know what shape the object is yet, I take it. It's just large and orange.
Large and orange.
But it's not orange, it's just a light.
Mm-hmm.
What you went on to establish there was so much better than my initial thought. My mind went to a dark place. When you said he saw a strange orange glowing object, I thought of like a pitch black room and then this orange dildo flopping around like someone was dancing with it strapped to them. I don't know why that's where my mind went. Like a luminous glow in the dark. And then you were like in the sky. Or 100 feet in the ground or whatever you said. I was like, thank gosh.
Was it, thank gosh? Or were you also slightly disappointed that I didn't say it was a luminous orange flapping dildo?
But now it's disappointed. But at the time I was actually relieved. Like I don't know what you said that led me down that pathway, but I thought that was where we were going. I was dead certain at one point.
Kevin loves a dildo.
That's how the aliens roll. Strapped up and ready to pop.
You bastard. I was set. I was composed. As Wheeler stood there, jaw to his knees, staring at the craft, he noticed an opening which allowed him to look inside it. He couldn't see much, but he says that he could see something mechanical slowly turning. I could see something turning slowly. At the bottom of the craft was a black tube which was dangling in the wind.
Back we go.
And I have an artist's sketch here for you, Grey Nuts.
Okay, let's check this artist's sketch. This is a flying saucer with a dangly bit.
What it is an actual artist's sketch. You were thinking I was going to fuck you over then, weren't you?
I was expecting the orange dildo again, I'll be honest. Okay, so quite a stereotypical flying saucer with the little glass bit on the top, presumably where the pilot sits. Some knobs on the main structure. It's got fins or a grille, almost like a road vehicle. So perhaps we've got flight veered engine rather than an anti-grav kind of system. Because I'm presuming that tube / wang hanging out the bottom of this ship is an exhaust. It can't be a landing leg because it's not straight, therefore.
Side bits could be, the grill looking bit could be vents.
Yeah, this could be, I don't want to say primitive because it's obviously very advanced, but kind of the step between rockets and anti-grav technology where people are flying extremely quick but with engine-powered flight. Okay. What did you say before that? I was going to ask a question. Oh, something mechanical slowly turning. Do you reckon this engine, being slightly primitive, because I'm going there now, is the equivalent of a hamster in a wheel powering this thing? Could see like an alien giant hamster turning.
Before you said that, my initial thought was the old, I don't know if you'd call it a device, but can you remember in Conan the Barbarian?
I can remember Conan the Barbarian very vaguely.
where he is
Arnie
taken
film.
as a child and he's got to turn the wheel. He's got to push the wheel with all those other people and they slowly die. And then the kid goes from kid to giant Arnie, constantly pushing. When you said that, before you said hamster wheel, I pictured Arnie in there pushing the wheel round.
Maybe that's how he got so big. There wasn't any bodybuilding, really. That was just a cover story.
He turned the wheel of an alien ship.
Maybe he is an alien. That's why he's so big. He's got muscles in places most people don't have places. Worked it out. So, just to clarify before we move on to the next bit, he made all this detail out whilst it was still 100 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good eyesight. He's like you, Hawkeye.
Wheeler radioed...
See whether there's a dangly thing or not from 500 yards.
Wheeler radioed into the sheriff's department in Ellsworth.
Yes. This man has no chin. If you watched WWE a few years ago, you'll catch that reference.
As Wheeler was calling this in, the craft suddenly flew up into the air at speed. Great speed. Alarming speed. Fast as fuck, you could say. And as it did, a blue flash illuminated the area.
Ooh.
The police car's engine, lights, and radio all went out. When everything came back on, a voice came over the radio asking Wheeler if he needed some assistance. The person on the other end would be shocked as Wheeler replied, "My God, it's another of these UFOs!"
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Another?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Another.
But this is the first one we've mentioned.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Another.
Another.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Another.
Another.
What happened to the others? Are we going to get to them, or are you just going to leave that hanging without addressing it?
Maybe I'm going to leave it dangling, like the large black pipe coming from the
large
UFO.
Black pipe with an orange glow. Yes. Can I ask a question, or do we...
Huh? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, or yes, go ahead? Can I ask a question? No, but go ahead. I'm not sure if I dare now.
Because you went, can I ask you a question, or can... I was like, no. Right, go ahead.
Are you sure? So,
No.
Wheeler had called up to ask for assistance.
Wheeler had called up to ask for assistance.
This is the only officer. Who's he calling? His wife?
So there are some nearby towns.
Okay, they all gang up together with their pitchforks when needed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Come together like
That makes more sense now.
Voltron. I say Voltron because for some
5 police officers from presumably country towns all combine. They become Voltron or Megazord.
Yeah. Pretty much. They do the proper Power Ranger stance as well.
I'm picturing
with their
them.
police badges.
I'm picturing them basically forming the gymnastic human pyramid kind of structure. Just walking down the street like that. We are the ultimate force.
They'd have a good shot or like a good line of sight to shoot someone.
Well, I suppose. Have the height. Have the higher ground.
You just kneecap the one that's the leg. Just watch them tumble. David Moots was a dairy farmer. He was returning home after dropping the babysitter off. He saw Wheeler's car pulled over at the side of the road, so he pulled over to see if the retired officer needed some assistance. Wheeler, unfortunately, at some point in his life, had suffered a heart attack. So when Moots saw him struggling to get out of his car, he thought the worst. So rushed to help. As he did, he shouted out asking if he was okay, and Wheeler replied saying that he'd been hit. Moots asked if he was hit by a car, which would then prompt follow-up questions, but Wheeler said, "No, one of these UFOs." What? You would think that this would startle Moots. You would be right. It did, but not for the reasons you're thinking. You see, he wasn't stunned that Wheeler saw a UFO, but that he'd been hit by one. Allegedly, truthfully, a lot of people in the area had seen UFOs around, so it wasn't anything new.
What people? We haven't mentioned any of this at all. I need to know more. Where's Tuttle Hill?
In Massachusetts. Massachusetts?
I'm so very confused. Why is everyone so casual about this?
What I want to know is if you're hit by a UFO...
I was going there.
Okay, you go there.
Hit in what way? Was it a crash? In which case, why is this man even alive at this point? Or did it literally shoot the man? In which case, why is he alive at this point? How?
My brain went hit like you would be hit by a car. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, how big that UFO is, how slow it must be going to hit you and not kill you.
Considering you said it went at crazy speeds.
Also, it would also have to go so slow that you could get out of the way. So why did you not get out of the way?
They got into a game of chicken. Once his eyes locked with it, this man had seen some stuff. He wasn't backing down.
Either that or he was hit by the blast from the UFO as it shot up.
Okay, that he could have been right on the cusp of the blast, I guess, and not done huge amounts of damage, but still enough to make him struggle to get out of the car. Like, was he fallen down, staggering like he'd been shot, or...
Don't know. Because he could have been...
Drunk?
Either half in, half out of the car. So car door was open. He's got 1 foot out, kind of stood up, 1 foot in, on the radio, about to describe what he's seen, hit by the blast, and it kind of knocked him into the car. Therefore, he's a little bit dazed and confused. Or he's just in shock at what the fuck happened.
I like that you're like, he could have been this or he could have been that.
I wasn't there. So I don't know.
I feel we have a reliable source for this one.
He could have been sat in the car completely. Could have been outside the car completely, leaning in, talking on the radio. But he was struggling to get out of the car. So it's just, my brain is going, how do you struggle to get out of a car? And you've also been hit by something?
I've simply got no idea at this point.
Nothing?
Do we know much about Wheeler's interests outside of work at this point in their life?
No, we don't.
So we don't know whether Wheeler likes a drink. I mean, this is the only man on duty. He could get away with doing things on duty.
Well, I think we've established that this is a community of grassers. And snitches get stitches. So I can't see him doing that.
Well, who are they going to grass on?
The whole town would rally together
and grass
take him down.
To the only officer in the town, which just so happens to also be him.
They would literally decide
He's invincible.
To take him out. They would take him
out
back. Like old Yeller. Put him down. And then put
sad.
Another sheriff in, or another police chief in his place. Although, to be fair, he's the reserve officer. So they could report that to the actual police chief when he's back from holiday.
So they can't do anything for now.
So maybe he can't have a drink on the job.
Wow.
But then he's
can't
reserved.
is a strong word.
So he's only on duty when the other officer is away.
Life would be much more fun if you could have a drink on duty, wouldn't it? Like, imagine doing your weekly shop, you get to the checkout and the person who's serving you is just smashed off their face.
That'd be great. I'd get so much free stuff.
You could take all of it.
Cool, thank you.
Can I just put this bit in the microwave and see what would happen? Cucumber? Ever microwaved a cucumber?
No. Have you?
No. Have you got a cucumber?
Don't like cucumber.
That's a weird thing not to like. I can get being indifferent to them.
Do not say
that it's just
it
water.
Tastes like water.
I'm not saying it tastes like water.
Good.
But if you were to ask me what it tastes like, I might have difficulty answering. To me, there are things that I don't like that I don't like the texture of rather than the taste.
No, it's the taste
of water.
Cucumber. Off.
Green water. It ain't right.
There's something off about it and I don't like it. So you don't like mushrooms, you fucking weirdo.
That's not weird at all.
It is.
They're slimy.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Stare at you with their button eyes.
Damn right. Oh, I'm going to have mushrooms.
They're basically mould. They're fungus.
Cheese is fucking mould.
Oh,
and you
jeez.
love cheese. So you can't say shit.
Cheese isn't mould. It's basically eating a cow. Wait. I've got nothing. It's milk. It's what it is.
Mould.
That's where I was going. It's not mould. Unless you get the mouldy one. Blue cheese, all right, fair enough. But I'm not a fan of blue cheese because it's mould, like fungi. Mushrooms, for example.
What you got to hate on the fungi for? Now,
Because it's mould.
Wheeler wasn't the only person to see something strange, allegedly truthfully. One such witness is Mrs. Wergland. She was chilling at home when her clock chimed 11 p.m. and she got up to take her meds, like clockwork. Something was different this night though, because as she looked outside, she spotted a bright orange moon-shaped object over Tuttle Hill.
Moon-shaped?
She watched it for a while and then just left the kitchen and went to bed.
Okay, so we've got a picture of Tuttle Creek Recreation Site here. It just looks like a barren wasteland, like Fallout.
Yeah, it does.
Tumbleweed. It looks like somewhere where tumbleweed is just going to run across. Is that really a recreation site? That sign should say Tuttle Creek Wasteland. That's about as wastelandy an image as I've ever seen in my life. There's nothing going on in this place. What sort of biscuit is that you're showing me here?
I think you'll find it's a Jaffa cake.
Jaffa cake, that's the one. I knew what it was, just the name wouldn't come to me. You're showing me a Jaffa cake with one bite taken out of it in the shape of a moon.
It's a moon, half
Yes, I'm there. Is this the best evidence you could come up with? This is an artistic representation of what Mrs. Wergland saw. It's a Jaffa cake.
half moon.
To be fair, it's got a hint of orange about it on the outside.
Damn right it has. It's moon-shaped.
No windows, though.
Not from her angle.
I'm going to look at a Jaffa cake really carefully the next time I come across one. From what angle
Just
can you
so
see
happens.
windows? Wow, there are windows. You can see a little hamster in there.
A little Arnie.
Those two words do not go together.
Another alleged witness is Paul Fredrickson. He received a call from the police chief's wife asking if he'd take a look out the front of his house. As he did, he saw an orange half-moon object glowing in the sky. After looking at it for a while, he established it was a Jaffa cake. It wasn't smoke or fire. And so as he returned to the phone, he was also joined by his wife who had woken up. When they returned to look at the object again, it was gone. Paul would go on to report this sighting.
To who? Wheeler?
Don't know who he reported it to.
So, we've got a few witnesses at this point. So it's all kind of coming together
Witnesses
on that
that
front.
you asked for earlier.
Yes.
They are
yeah.
here.
But they're all seeing an orangey half-moon object glowing in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the moon?
Orange.
Yeah, some nights the moon does look kind of orange, even red at times if you catch it on the right day.
But it had big black dangly thing hanging from the bottom of it.
Only according to Wheeler. The rest are just seeing a moon.
So they're just seeing a moon.
They're just seeing a moon. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Elmwood Police Chief Gene Helmer was monitoring the police scanner at home as he was relaxing when Wheeler's report came through. Helmer's helmet peaked when he heard it. Then the transmission went dead, giving Helmer blue balls. Helmer jumped up and got ready to head out when the radio came back to life with Wheeler's voice. Get somebody out here! I've been hit!
By what? By what, Wheeler?
Helmer left immediately. As he arrived, Moots was with Wheeler trying to calm him down. Wheeler's wife had also appeared on site as she had also been listening in on the radio. She took him home and called the family doctor for advice, Dr. Springer. Dr. Springer advised her to bring him to his house. Springer gave him a shot to calm him down, and then he was sent to the hospital.
What kind of shot?
Jerry. Probably whiskey double.
Why was the wife listening on the radio?
Because she's a retired police chief's wife.
So, that's no excuse.
Wheeler was in hospital for 3 days. All manner of tests were done, but nothing was found to be wrong. Shortly after being discharged, he was soon back in hospital with intense headaches and strange nightmares. 11 days he would stay this time, but again, they found nothing wrong. Although, when found, Wheeler told his wife, Helma, and Moots what happened, but several weeks later, he would forget the details of the incident. Wheeler's car had been investigated following the incident, and it was found that the electrics were shorted, and maybe it had been hit by some kind of electromagnetic burst. A short week after the encounter, a few more calls were received about UFOs in nearby towns, but most were just dismissed as comets.
God damn it, I think you done it. You found a real one. That's pretty surprising. Have we seen evidence of this probe rather than it just being like written in a book or something? Are there photos of the people involved, photos of the car, that kind of thing?
There is a newspaper photo of this one, yes.
Okay.
Which I haven't included in because it's just...
No, that's fine. I don't need to see it. Just sometimes...
It's real. It's not made up.
Electromagnetic burst shorting the electrics. When you get sort of 5 or 6 witnesses and a piece of secondhand physical evidence such as electrics being shorted, that does lead you down the path of, okay, something happened. Mm-hmm. What? Was it otherworldly? Was it military? That's our usual debate, isn't it? Or is that just a coincidence and this chap had a stroke-like event, seizure perhaps, and shorted the car themselves? I don't know how I'm going to conclude yet. It's a mystery, even to me.
So to summarise, we have the case of George Wheeler, a retired World War II vet and retired police officer who was doing his part as a reserve officer when he saw a bright orange glow. Thinking that it could be a fire, he swiftly made his way towards it, and as he got there, he soon found out it wasn't a fire, but something else entirely. He was greeted by a craft hovering in the air, and it was giving off the orange glow. It had bluish and white lights on it, windows, and a large black tube dangling from the bottom. As Wheeler radioed it in, the ship shot off into the sky. Everything in Wheeler's car cut out whilst he was on the radio. A farmer was passing by after taking his babysitter home and would find Wheeler struggling to get out of his car and would go over to help. A police chief of a nearby town would also be listening in on the radio, and so too was Wheeler's wife. They both got in their cars and rushed to his aid. Wheeler was taken home, then to the doctors, and then to the hospital. He was checked over for 3 days, but they found nothing wrong with him. He would go home, but return again, suffering headaches and nightmares. We also looked at others who had witnessed something strange this night, and what the mechanics who worked on Wheeler's car believe may have caused his car to stop working shortly. So, Greybeard, do you believe that this is aliens, or are you putting Wheeler in the bin?
I'm not wheelie binning him.
Wheelie?
So something that doesn't quite sit right with me here is how much detail Wheeler was able to make out whilst this thing was really, really high up in the sky. So I feel like he's kind of added extra details on, potentially, or even subconsciously added them. He's obviously experienced some health events and whatnot. But that doesn't mean he didn't see something. Where I find myself struggling is the other witnesses just saw in what could have been the moon, quite frankly. Was it the moon or was it some sort of craft that they did see? I don't think it was aliens. I'm not saying that it was aliens. There's not enough alien-y kind of shenanigans going on for me to conclude that way. But I'm not entirely sure what I think it was between standard sky sightings. As I say, they just saw the moon or perhaps even one of the planets at the right angle or something, or whether there was something in the sky. Do we know if there were any airfield bases nearby?
That we don't.
And it was 76. So that's recent enough for more experimental tech to be worked on. I'm really caught between whether there was something in the sky or whether it was a planet or the moon. Okay, it's the moon.
Oh, a planet.
Or the moon.
So planet or the moon?
Yeah.
Which one?
Either or. I think they saw a Jaffa cake, is what I think.
Cool. I mean,
it's a tough one.
do I believe that this is aliens? No. Am I putting Wheeler in the bin? No. I think that Wheeler may have potentially had a stroke or some kind of medical event whilst he was there. And he might have just seen... So he may have seen the moon or a planet and gone over there and then had that episode whilst he was there. It could have even been a epileptic fit, for example. The radio cutting out could have just been him releasing his hand from the button when he had said stroke or episode. And we had that the mechanic said that the car had been shorted or the electrics had been shorted. But remember, the electrics went off and came back on. If there was a short, I don't think that would have happened. I think a short would have fried them completely and it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah.
So them coming back on is either something was tripped in the car or it was him having that event. He might have even just been having a laugh and just switched the engine off completely and switched it back on halfway through. But I doubt that. The claims of everyone seeing aliens at this time as well, I think may have just been one of those periods in time where aliens were all abuzz and everyone was just seeing something weird. Or you did allude to it that there could have been a army facility nearby, so they were seeing the tests of some type of aircraft.
Other similar scenarios, we've often seen things like radar data. And that kind of stuff is just missing from this one, isn't it? To get it to that next level. Like I say, I'm not doubting the Wheeler's credibility necessarily, just that there isn't enough evidence there to take it up a rung.
Absolutely. So, thank you for joining us for this week's probe of George Wheeler. You can find us on our socials at But It Was Aliens. That's Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. Our Facebook group is Extraterrestrial Towers, and you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/But It Was Aliens, where we probe Rasputin's dick, the pegging prince, and ghosts. Woo! Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we definitely never accused any member of royalty of being into pegging. That didn't happen.
Never.
Did it, probers?
I have been General Moonwalker, and he has been the giant grey one. Remember, the truth is up there.
You said you'd leave my house alone.
Tag. I said allegedly, truthfully. You're a giant.